Hello all, let's start part 3 of section 2.1. Part 3 of section 2.1 is about quadratic formula. I will do a quick proof here for you from where the quadratic formula comes in. But let me tell you that you are not required to learn the proof. I'm not asking you to put this formula for me during the test or exam. But if you wish to learn to understand that from where this formula comes in, you can see it here, correct? And also, uh, let me tell you that quadratic formula is a shortcut for the completing a square method. Uh, Remember, on the first day of lecture, I put the general form for quadratic formula for you, which was ax squared plus bx plus c equal 0. On the second lecture, I talked about completing a square. Let's apply completing a square on the general form of the quadratic equation. It means on this equation, correct? The first thing to do is divide every single term by coefficient of x squared. It means by a. Then I'll do this. Ax squared over a, I will divide it by a, plus b over a x plus c over a equals 0 over a. Here a cancels out. I'll end up with x squared plus b over a x. And let's do the same thing. Move also the constant term to the right side of the equation. I'll do 2 steps here. It becomes negative c over a, and of course 0 over a becomes 0 plus 0. I will not write that part. Now, to apply completing a square, we take the half of b, we square it, and we add to both sides. Half of b over a means, if you remember, multiply it by 1/2. It means b over 2a. Then I will write x squared plus b over a x plus b over 2a all square equals negative c over a plus b over 2a all square. We add it to both sides of the equation, right? From here to here, it's a perfect square trinomial. Then I can write x plus b over 2a all square equals, let's simplify and put this in a nice order. A nice order means I will write the positive term first, then the negative term. If you square this part, it gives you b squared over 4a, right? Minus c over a. Now, let's add these two fractions on the right side and rewrite it as a one fraction. To add these two fractions, I need to multiply c over a by 4, the top and bottom, correct? Because I need 4a in the denominator. Then x plus b over 2a all square equals, now denominators are the same, 4a in the top, I'll get b squared minus 4. Sorry, I forgot here. When you square it, it's 4a squared. Then I have to multiply this by 4a, not only 4. It gives you 4ac. Now, to solve this equation, take the square root from both sides. It gives you x plus b over 2a all square, and take the square root, please. equals the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. Correct? Here cancels out, square root cancels out the square. Then you end up with x plus b over 2a. Even I don't need a parenthesis because the square is gone. Equals, the denominator has a square which is 2a. I will write the denominator 2a, and I'll keep the top under the square root because we cannot take the square root of b squared minus 4ac, right? b squared minus 4ac. Now, moving b over 2a to the right, that means subtract b over 2a from both sides. You will end up with x equals negative b over 2a plus minus, because every time that you take a square root, I forgot to put plus minus here, you have the sign of plus minus, right? Here, denominator 2a, and in the top, you have b squared minus 4ac. To write down the right side as a one single fraction, you will end up with x equals negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over what? 2a. We call the result of this process, the last equation, we call it quadratic formula. Only you need to memorize this formula, and when you know this formula, you can solve all kind of quadratic equations using this formula. It doesn't matter if you are slow in factoring, if you don't know how to factor a quadratic equation, no need to factor. If you remember this formula, you can use this formula and you can solve that problem. If you forgot about completing a square, you don't know how to do the completing a square, no problem. Use this formula and you can solve that problem. The answer is the same. It's a very useful formula, and just memorize it. You can use it and you can solve all kind of quadratic equations by using this formula. Now, let's do one or two examples. Example number one. For example, let me take the first example from your book. They are asking you to solve which equation? X squared equals 5 minus 3x. It's a good example to explain actually something else for you. Look, this equation, x squared equals 5 minus 3x, is not in the standard form. The standard form for us is to have everything on the left side, all the terms on the left side, and the right side, I should have 0. It is not kind of mandatory to always have the equation in that format. You can use this format also to plug in ABC in your formula and solve it. But let me tell you, because two terms is on the right side, if you plug in these terms with their signs in the formula, your answer becomes wrong. Why? Because maybe if I ask you how much is A, you will tell me, oh, A is equal 1. How much is B? Oh, B is equal negative 3. How much is C? C is 5. But believe me, this is wrong. Because your term C, which is 5, and your term b, which is negative 3x, or negative, your b is negative 3, it's on the right side of the equation. These are not the actual signs. They should be in a standard form on the left side. Then my recommendation to you is that every time that you see an equation in this format, your step one should be to bring everything to the left side and make one side 0, correct? It means in this equation, I'll subtract 5 and I'll add 3x to both sides. Subtract 5 and add 3x to the both sides. Then it becomes x squared plus 3x minus 5. This side becomes what? 0. Now look, your a is equal 1, your b is equal positive 3, not negative 3, and your c is equal negative 5, not positive 5. Some students, they does this mistake during the test, then they say, oh, I plug in all the numbers, why I got 0 in this problem? No, you plug wrong numbers in the formula. You have to be careful. When you are using quadratic formula, all the terms in the equation should be on the left side. One side becomes 0. Then you know how much is A, how much is B, how much is C. Next step is your formula. I'll recommend you that every time when you do your homework, please write the formula again and again and again for each problem. Why? Because by writing the formula first, actually you are trying to memorize it, correct? It's a good practice to put first the formula, b squared minus 4ac over what? 2a. Now plug in a, b, c. You know already how much is a, how much is b, how much is c. Plug in this formula, do the operation, and you get the result for the problem, or you can find the roots of the equation. X equals negative b. Be careful in this formula with all those signs that that's involved in this formula. If you just forget about one negative, your answer is wrong. Be careful. You see, I have one negative from formula, negative. Then how much is b? 3. If my b was negative 3, it means I will end up with negative 3. Correct? Be careful when you plug in. Plus minus a square root of b squared, it means 3 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 5, over 2 times 1. Simplify. X equals negative 3 plus minus the square root of 3 squared gives you 9. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 5 gives you positive 20. Over what? Over 2. Just add this two number. X equals negative 3 plus minus square root of 29 over 2. Final answer, 2 roots of the equation. Correct? Let me do another example with more signs. Maybe you can factor this example, but I will not factor. I will use the quadratic formula. For example, x squared minus 7x plus 12 equals 0. Correct? Your a is equal 1, your b is equal negative 7, and your c is equal 12. Quadratic formula, x equals negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Plug in the numbers, then x equals negative b. How much is b? Look here, one negative from formula, another negative from 7. Plus minus square root of b squared. It means negative 7 squared. If I write this way, I did wrong. I shouldn't explain these small steps for you, but I know some of us, we are careless, we don't care, we don't use parentheses, we just put the square on the top of the 7, and when we square it, oh, it's negative 49. No, you are squaring everything. Negative 7 squared, it's like this. Correct? Minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is 12. All over 2 times 1. Next step, simplify. Do the operation. X equals negative 7 becomes positive 7. Plus minus a square root of negative 7 squared gives you positive 49. Minus 4 times 12 gives you 48. Over 2. X equals 7 plus minus the square root of 1 over 2. It means x equals 7 plus minus 1 over 2. From here, because you can go on, don't let the answer like this. Write two answers. The first answer, x equals 7 plus 1 over 2, which gives you 8 over 2, which means 4. And the second answer, x equals 7 minus 1 over 2, which gives you 6 over 2, which means 3. Two roots of the equation. Correct? One more example. Let me do a lot of examples. Then don't complain, Professor just does one example. No, I'll do 2, 3 in each lecture. Solve or find the roots of the given equation. X squared minus 9 equals 0. How much is A? I know you can solve this problem by factoring in a less than 1 minute, right? Because you know the factors are x minus 3 and x plus 3. Make it equal to 0 and solve it. 3 and 3 to answer. 3 and negative 3 to answers. Correct? But I'm using the quadratic formula to solve this. Correct? How much is A? A is 1. How much is B? Do we see a B? B was the coefficient of x. We don't have x. Then it means B is equal 0. How much is C? C is negative 9. Formula, x equals negative B plus minus square root of B squared minus 4AC over 2A. Then I can write x equals negative B, it means negative 0, right? Plus minus a square root of 0 squared minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is negative 9, over 2 times A, 2 times 1. X is equal, this part is 0, even I'm not going to write it, plus minus a square root of 0 squared is 0, negative 4 times negative 9 gives you positive 36 over 2. It means x equals plus minus 6 over 2, which gives you plus minus what? 3 to answer for the given equation. Correct? We call this method solving quadratic equation using quadratic formula. The next topic that I want to discuss with you in this lecture is the product and sum of the roots. The product and sum of the roots of x squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Look, when I am writing if I name the two roots of the quadratic equation R1 and R2, for example, you see here I have two answers, positive, negative 3. It means my R1 is 3 and my R2 is what? Negative 3. The two roots. The product, if I multiply these two, it always should gives me C. And if I add these two, it always gives me negative B. Why negative B? Because when you plug in back, when you go from answer to the factor form, of course you change the sign. That's the reason. Correct? Now, I can do a proof for you that these two statements are correct. These two statements are correct. I can do it a proof for you. I will show the proof for you. But again, you are not required to learn the proof. Just understand that the product of two roots of an equation, a quadratic equation, always gives you the constant term, and the sum of them gives you the negative coefficient of your x, which is negative b. Let's do the proof at least on one of them. Let me prove the first one. At least I'll do one of them for you. That this statement is true, correct? Look, if I name R1 negative b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, only with plus sign, and I write R2 as a negative b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Let's multiply the right side of these two equations and let's see what's happening. R1 times R2 equals, it means negative b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a times negative b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Correct? Let's multiply these two parentheses. Then R1 times R2 equals. Denominator is really easy. Let's first multiply the denominator. 2a times 2a gives you 4a squared. Correct? Not 2a because we use, sorry, divide by 2 because we use x squared plus bx plus c, not ax squared, because we are using here this formula. A is equal 1. You don't need to even write a. Correct? And also in this formula, you don't have a here because your a is actually 1. From here, your a goes off, and from here, your a. I shouldn't have a. But if you want to keep it, just plug in 1 instead of a. Now let's multiply. 2 times 2 gives you 4. Negative b times negative b gives you b squared. Positive times negative gives you negative. And actually, if you see these two parentheses, if I have x plus a, times x minus a. And if I multiply, I know my answer is x squared minus a squared. It means b squared minus this parenthesis square. B squared minus 4ac all square. Or you can FOIL it. You will end up with the same answer. R1 times R2 equals b squared minus a square root cancels out with this square. B squared minus b squared minus 4ac over 4. Distribute the negative to inside. Then you end up with b squared plus, why I put a every time? My a is 1. I'm sorry. I should remove a. Minus 4c or plus 4c over 4. Something is wrong with me. B squared, when you distribute, minus b squared plus 4c over what? Over 4. B squared and negative b squared cancels out. Then you end up with R1 times R2 equals 4c over 4. 4 cancels out with 4. And you see R1 times R2 is equal C. What I told you at the beginning. I proved it. What does it mean in English language? If you multiply two roots of a quadratic equation, it always gives you a constant term. And if you add the two roots of the quadratic equation, it gives you the negative of b, which is the coefficient of x. Why we are doing this? Soon you will see in this example. Sometimes we go opposite way. Usually they gives us a quadratic formula and they ask us find the roots. Sometimes they gives us the roots and they ask write the quadratic formula. It means if I give you the two roots of the equation, a quadratic equation, you should be able to write for me which quadratic equation has this answer. Correct? Let's do one example for this. Let's see which one. Find a quadratic equation with given roots. Example, find quadratic equation with roots. What are the roots? They will give you definitely the two roots. R1 is equal 1 plus a square root of 5 over 4, and R2 equals 1 minus a square root of 5 over 4. They're asking you to find or write the quadratic equation. To do that, you have to do two things. First, find R1 times R2, and second, find R1 plus R2. Because to write a quadratic equation, you need to know how much is A, you need to know how much is B, you need to know how much is C. Correct? R1 times R2 gives you always C, and R1 plus R2 always gives you negative B. Correct? Let's do it. Then I can say C equals R1 times R2. It means 1 plus a square root of 5 over 4 times 1 minus a square root of 5 over 4, which gives me 1 square minus square root of 5 all square. Hopefully you understand what I'm doing with the numerator. I'm using x plus a times x minus a special product. I'm going that method. I'm not foiling it, right? Over 4 times 4 gives you 60, which you will end up with 1 minus 5 over what? 16, which gives you negative 4 over 16. It means C is equal negative 1 over 4. Correct? Now let's add negative b equals R1 plus R2. It means 1 plus square root of 5 over 4 plus 1 minus square root of 5 over 4. Denominators are the same. One of them 4 and add. Here now it's working again. 1 plus 1 gives you 2. Positive square root of 5 cancels out with negative square root of 5. It means you will end up with 2 over 4. It means your negative b equals 1/2. Okay, now I have the first term, I have the constant, I have the coefficient of b, and I can write the quadratic equation, right? Then my quadratic equation, the form is first term x squared, negative b is 1/2. It means your b is negative 1/2, right? Minus 1/2 of x. It means that when you multiply both sides of this equation by negative 1, you end up with b equals negative 1/2, correct? Negative 1/2 x. And how much was c? Your c was negative 1/4. Oh, sorry, 1/4, not 4 over 1. Negative 1/4 equals 0. To write it actually this is the quadratic equation, but we want to have it in a nice way with no fraction. What to do? I will multiply both sides of this equation by 4 to remove the fraction. Then I'll end up with 4x squared minus 4 times 1/2 gives you 2 minus 2x, and 1/4 times 4 gives you 1 equals 0. Here you go. If I give you the two roots of a quadratic equation, you should be able to write the quadratic equation out of it. Correct? Last topic of this section, actually, this lecture and also this section 2.1 is the discriminant. The discriminant. What is discriminant? In your quadratic formula, which was x equals negative b plus minus a square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, this part of the equation, b squared minus 4ac, you see I circled it by red color, we call this part discriminant, correct? Let me put the last part of our lecture in a totally separate video for you. I'll stop the lecture and I'll put this part because it will get too much for you. I will put this part in a separate video for you.